Ladies and gentlemen, this is Big Ray's Wrestling Show. You know me, I'm the Mark of the Master, the man on the planet. Big Ray here to stay to talk some TNA Today Impact 10/10/2013. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I actually have a bad cold. Apparently the whole East Coast has a cold, so I got it. I'm not going to sound great, please forgive me for that, but I want to give you a recap, ladies and gentlemen, because I love talking wrestling. So we have Dixie Carter. Oh, and before I jump into the show tonight, there has been a young lion, the longest reigning Ohio Valley Wrestling champion. His name is Jamin Olivencia. He's actually a really great competitor. He has a fantastic look, and he actually has been hinting at challenging Kurt Angle. Well, he actually challenged Kurt Angle to a fight, and will Kurt Angle accept the match this week on TNA Impact? Well, I guess we're going to find out. We jump right into the show, and Dixie Carter comes into the ring. She talks about how Hulk Hogan is gone from the company. She never needed him. He was egotistical. He was basically just a fringe player. And then she starts calling out Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, and over the hill Eric Bischoff, the Garetts, saying that she didn't need any of these people. She doesn't need anyone telling her how to basically run her company. Then she quickly moves on to AJ Styles, and she says AJ Styles, you know, that good for nothing AJ Styles, I asked him so sweetly to leave my building, but she actually had security try to escort him out, and she is extremely upset that AJ Styles interfered last week and came back into the arena and stuck his nose into apparently her business. Well, we move on to that, and she states, Dixie B, that she's gonna give Bully Ray basically a blank check, or his choice of whatever match he wants to do, a revenge check, and Bully Ray we'll see if he actually accepts that blank check later on. But anyway, while Dixie Carter is going on and on, Sting actually comes into the ring, and I gotta be honest with you, the crowd was extremely hot. Heel Dixie again does a great job on the microphone. That condescending, evil, I'm better than you freaking personality she's carrying over the television, I think is really good. I would like to know what you guys think. Leave a comment here below at OneWrestling.com and YouTube /OneWrestling video, or hit me up on Twitter at Big Ray Show. Sting wants to know what the hell is going on. Now Sting is all fired up, and again Dixie Carter's like, oh, bless your little heart, I'm so glad you care about me. And Dixie proceeds to put all the blame on Sting for bringing in Hulk Hogan. She basically says, Sting, you know, it's you who said, oh, I have a great idea for a GM to bring in, and it was actually Sting who brought Hulk Hogan in. And Dixie then basically makes a match for the end of the night. Excuse me, towards the end of the night, where she says that she is going to have Sting and the person he's supposed to challenge at Bound for Glory, Magnus, in a tag team match together versus Bad Influence. Now here's the kicker: if Sting or Magnus lose the match, their careers are basically in Dixie Carter's itty bitty little hands, and they won't get a match at Bound for Glory. So that's actually adding a little spice to that match tonight. Anyway, backstage we have AJ Styles, and AJ Styles basically not only promises that he will be the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, but he promises that he will make Dixie Carter pay. We jump into a great match between Austin Aries and Jeff Hardy, and I think this, if this is a prelude to the Ultimate X match, I think it's going to be one hell of a match. Towards the end of the match, we have Jeff Hardy at the top rope. Jeff Hardy's actually, I think, going to try a Swanton Bomb, but Austin Aries jumps up, drop kicks the top rope. Jeff Hardy then splits the turnbuckle, if you know what I mean. Austin Aries then goes to the second rope, and I think he's going for a superplex. He hits Jeff Hardy with a brainbuster, perfectly executed off the second rope. He gets the clean 1, 2, 3 on Jeff Hardy. Really awesome way to end the match. Now, Samoa Joe comes down to the ramp, and he actually states that he is now interjecting himself into the Ultimate X match. It is going to be a 5-way Now, if you guys follow me at TNAMecca.com and the Can-Am Connection Show, my buddy Andre Corpio, follow him on Twitter at Andre_Corpio. He's fantastic, and his TNA stuff is great. But he actually stated how he believed Kenny King would also be included in this. So I actually agree with Andre, and I believe, and I want to know what you guys think. Excuse me. I think it's going to be a 6-way Ultimate X match. Is it overkill, or you think it's going to make one hell of a match? I think it's going to be one hell of a match between these unbelievable athletes. Well, anyway, we go backstage. We have Robbie E, and Robbie E basically calls out Jessie for losing to O.D.B. And you know what? Jessie says, we got some things to take care of. Jessie comes down to the ring, and he actually calls out O.D.B. for a match. Well, basically during this match between Jessie and O.D.B. man versus woman, O.D.B. is tripped by Robbie E, and an EY, Eric Young, proceeds to fight Robbie E out of the ringside backstage. Now, while the match is going on, again, our Lei'D Tapa comes into the ring, and she basically crushes O.D.B. She annihilates O.D.B. She hits her with the shoulder block. She was throwing O.D.B. around like a rag doll. Excuse me. Finally putting her up in a fireman's carry into a what is a stunner. Yo, Lei'D Tapa is looking really tough, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to know what you guys think. I mean, again, my buddy Andre really thinks that, I know she's a little green, but she's a big woman. She's got a phenomenal look. She's gotten a hell of a lot better from the gut check. And again, I wasn't a big fan of Lei'D Tapa. I actually was against her. I wanted Ivelisse to actually move on. But I think this young lady actually might have something. Again, good look, great size, a great pedigree, and she knows how to use that Tongan death grip. But anyway, we move backstage, and we have Bully Ray. Bully Ray is backstage with Knux and Bischoff, the final 3 members of the Aces and Eights, and these guys are going back and forth, laying the blame on each other. And Bully Ray, you know, he makes a pretty good point. He says, you know, it's not my fault. It's Ken Anderson's fault. Ken Anderson's the one who puts his career on the line. Ken Anderson's fault is the one who put Devon's career on the line. Ken Anderson wanted to challenge me for a World Heavyweight Championship. Ken Anderson. Well, Bully Ray is able to manipulate his brothers into what I think Bully Ray wants is to have these guys in a match versus AJ. He wants these guys to take out AJ Styles. So it's going to be a handicap match, since Bully Ray basically got to choose whatever the hell match he wants. It is a handicap match between Knux and Bischoff. That's going to be later on tonight. Backstage, we have Magnus talking Bound for Glory with Sting. Now we quickly move on. We have Bad Influence, and they come into the ring. Well, first they're inducting Bobby Roode in the Extraordinary Gentlemen's Organization Hall of Fame, and they come down to the ring with powder blue and orange tuxedos, top hats, and canes, and they refer to themselves basically saying that they're dressing like all the fans who are Dumb and Dumber. If you haven't seen the movie, then you wouldn't get the joke, but it was pretty freaking hilarious. And then they actually put together, they have Bobby Roode sit down in this big chair with like a throne, and they basically have this ridiculous, hilarious video package where, let's say they have Jeff Hardy, and Jeff Hardy is talking about someone else. I think this person, I think Hulk Hogan is the greatest and should be in the TNA Hall of Fame, and they dub the voices over, and they have they have him saying Bobby Roode. Dude, it was hilarious. They have a little picture of a baby with Bobby Roode's head on it. I mean, you have to watch it, guys. Really, really funny. Well, while this is all happening, Bobby Roode comes and he's all crying and getting really emotional, and he says, you know, I have to thank one more person. You know, he really puts this person over, and he's thanking himself, basically. Well, finally, Kurt Angle comes into the ring, and Kurt Angle is challenged by Bad Influence. They come at him. Kurt Angle suplexes one guy, suplexes the other guy, goes after Bobby Roode, puts him in the ankle like as Bobby Roode's trying to get out of the ring. Bobby Roode's shoe slips off, and at this point in juncture, I'm waiting. I'm like, is Jamin coming out? Is he going to challenge Jamin? No. Bobby, there was actually no mention of Jamin Olivencia at all. Kurt Angle challenges Bobby Roode at Bound for Glory. Now, I'm wondering, if you were Jamin Olivencia, the longest reigning OVW champion, and you're a young lion, would you feel a little slighted at the fact that Kurt Angle didn't even mention your name? Is it possible that there's a new member of Ego around the corner? Anything is possible, ladies and gentlemen. It is professional wrestling. We move on, and we have the Knockouts match. The winner of this match would join the three-way for the Knockouts title between O.D.B and Gail Kim. And we have Brooke Tessmacher, excuse me, again I have a cold, and Velvet Sky along with Chris Sabin. And it was actually a cute little match. And again, I keep throwing this out there, but Brooke, you're a bad girl, but you're one of the hottest women on television today. During the match, we have Brooke, and she's basically working Velvet Sky's ribs. She did get crushed last week by Lei'D Tapa. And long story short, towards the end of the match, we have Velvet Sky, and you have Chris Sabin actually writing plays out in his hands like he's playing freaking touch football. And while she's being totally distracted, Brooke Tessmacher is able to roll her up for the 1-2-3. We move on to the main event Mafia. Basically Sting and Magnus versus Ego. Now, during the match, Daniels is actually cleared out of the ring, and Magnus is able to go to the top rope and hit a flying elbow drop off the top rope. Perfectly done. Should have went for the pin, but actually didn't. It's being a little cocky. You know, there was a lot at stake. I mean, if these guys lost, they could have been in a hell lot of trouble. But anyway, Magnus then goes for the cloverleaf, and of course Daniels comes into the ring, breaks it up. Well, anyway, Sting is able to get Daniels the hell out of the ring, and Sting actually finishes business off. Stinger splash on Kaz, hits him with the Scorpion Death Drop. 1-2-3. Sting actually goes over Kaz and Daniels. Sting and Magnus do, and Sting basically showing the young guy, look, man, when you got the pin, you got to go for it. And Magnus had this kind of look on his face like, you know, who do you think you are? You know, just because you're an icon, you know, you think you can show me up. But again, it's I can see a little dissension between these two guys. And personally, honestly, I can honestly see, just like when Bruno Sammartino and Larry Zbyszko, Bruno Sammartino is trying to show Larry Zbyszko, he's trying to teach him, and Larry Zbyszko lost it and started beating the hell out of Bruno Sammartino with a steel chair, and I'm talking about back in the 70s. I could see that kind of happening again. I would like to know what you guys think. I could see Magnus kind of turning heel on Sting and going a whole different direction with his character. But again, we have Dixie Carter backstage, and Dixie Carter, that condescending woman, that evil little, you know what, she offers AJ a huge check. She says, sweetheart, you can buy whatever you want. You can open up a school to help these little rednecks read. I mean, she cuts a really cool little promo. And AJ Styles says, hey, you can buy a lot of things, but you can't buy me. AJ Styles goes into a match versus Knux and Bischoff. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? AJ Styles alone, excuse me, is able to go over Knux and Bischoff. During the match, Knux and Bischoff were double teaming all night. But towards the end of the match, AJ Styles is able to knock Eric Bischoff on the right with a flying forearm, hitting the Pele kick on Knux, getting him out of the way, then finally rolling up Garett Bischoff for the 1-2-3. Bully Ray is incensed. He is pissed off that these two guys, his brothers, couldn't get the job done. Bully Ray then pulls out the chain and proceeds to whip and beat the living hell out of AJ Styles. Ladies and gentlemen, Bound for Glory, TNA's biggest pay-per-view, is just around the corner. Again, I just want you guys to think about this. I want you guys to please leave a comment here below. Do you think Jamin Olivencia will have a key moment at Bound for Glory? Do you think AJ Styles will actually be able to win the TNA World Heavyweight Championship? And ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Hogan has gone for the company. I'm actually hearing that Hulk Hogan's in negotiations and talking to TNA again. Is that a good thing? I don't know. Again, I always say this, TNA I believe needs to go back to move forward. And I also always say this, I would do this for a living, but if I can, I would do it anyway. Why? Because I love talking wrestling, even though I have a horrible cold. Ladies and gentlemen, you can follow us here every single week at onewrestling.com, YouTube /OneWrestling video. You can follow us on Twitter at OneWrestling, and follow me on Twitter at Big Ray Show. Please leave a comment below, hit that like button, please subscribe to our channel, and guys, on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. at www.tnamecha.com, myself and Andre Corbeil every single week give you at least a half an hour of TNA wrestling talk. The Can-Am Wrestling Show. Again, my Canadian compadre, Andre Corbeil. Follow him at Andre_Corbeil on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you next week. The last TNA Impact before Bound for Glory. It should be a really interesting one. Guys, if I don't see you here next week, I will definitely see you at TNAMecha.com. Again, this is OneWrestling.com. Big Ray, I am out. Peace.